Hi guys, and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to show you the videos of how we built this addition to our camper van from the ground up, starting from just a flatbed trailer. If you're wondering why we decided to do this, we've been staying just in the van. If you've seen my other videos, it's set up, it's got a bed and a little tiny bathroom and stuff in it. But if we're going to be boondocking, I really wanted more space and a better setup. You can't stand up to get dressed in the van because it's got a low ceiling. And I really wanted a bathroom with more privacy for boondocking. The bathroom in the van is pretty much just for middle of the night, and because I have such a tiny bladder while we're driving from place to place, Randy doesn't want to have to pull over every hour, so I can just walk to the back of the van to go. But, for long-term camping and boondocking, you want something with a little bit more privacy. So this is giving us a private bathroom plus a nice place to stand up to change clothes and brush your teeth and, get ready and that sort of thing. You just want to be able to stand up and move around while you do that, and you can't do that in the van. And then the second part is we just have too many toys when we go, and there's not enough room in the van for everything. So this allows us to have plenty of space to take whatever we might want when we're camping. So that's enough of that. Let's show you how we did it. Okay, so here is the trailer that we're starting with, and we're getting ready to turn it into something awesome.
Alright guys, I'll give you a quick update, status update. First step we pulled out the trailer, tore it down to the bare steel, painted what needed to be painted, cut everything off of it. Second step, we put down the 3/4 inch plywood, got it all bolted down with self-tapping steel mounting screws. Got that in. Then we came back with, and it's a little heavier than I wanted, but we came back with regular 2x4 stud walls. That's a 4-foot wall for now. I have the stud spaced at 16 inches or 16 inch on center, just typical framing for a house. I did not put a double header up here because that's going to be part of the third level going up. And we have it set up in two different rooms. There's a larger room to the back. Both doors come in from the side. The larger room to the back will be sort of a little bathroom. We'll have the bathroom facilities, have some cabinets and a sink in there. This first cabinet will be camping gear. You see I wanted most of the weight from the center axle toward the front, toward the truck, a little easier to trailer. That's about it for now. The doors will be custom cut doors to go in, so the doors will only have a height of about not quite 4 feet, but you'll just climb up into them like you would entering a van or a vehicle. Once you're inside, you'll be able to stand up because it'll be up to just about a 7-foot ceiling in the middle. We'll show you that on the next step. Oh, we haven't told you yet, but the roof design on this is going to be sort of a covered wagon, half of a circle. So it's going to be supported on plywood. So what I'm doing now, I'm creating the half circle. I basically took the width of the trailer, divided it in half, came up with the radius. Now I'm just simply using I came up 10 inches from the edge of the board just to give me a little bit of extra room. Drilled a hole there, put a screw in it, drilled a hole here for my ink pen at the radius that I had predetermined, and I'm just making a simple compass that should terminate right on the edge there.
Did you just break your pencil lead?
Nah, I dropped the ruler down. Alright, that is one of our circles. We need to do this 3 times.
Okay, here's the update. We have the 2 ends in and we have the half circles up, so now it's time to add the bracing across the top. Alright, I apologize, the neighbor's dogs are barking. But here's where we are right now. You can see the tin right up here that we're going to be adding all the way down to the bottom. You can see we've started adding spokes that go up and all the way over on the other side. Alright, here's another look on the inside, just to give you more of an idea of why we put these railings where we did. You can see we put the first piece of tin up and centered it on this beam, and then these two were just in line with where this tin ends, so that when we put the second one under this and overlap them, we can hook it in right there. And then this one is just here to separate the distance between these two to help make the nice bend going down. So that's how we got our spacing, in case you're wanting to replicate this build. Here you can see those spokes that go all the way over and the insulation. So we're going to continue to do the exact same thing on the other side there, and we're going to insulate the whole inside, and I will give you another update in a few minutes. And you can see now we have linoleum in the bathroom area, and this is just really cheap, $8 a roll from our local Rose's Express, nothing fancy. You can see now we are putting in the interior walls, and here's a little note. If you're going to do this project, don't put this end wall in yet, because we're finding it very difficult to get these big pieces in here now that we've closed up the place. But you can see the interior walls are in, and we're going to have to seam it a little bit. And you can see we used large screws versus little tiny nails, finishing nails, because we wanted to be sure it was going to hold up in all of the bouncing around that it's going to do.
Okay, so we put the doors in. I actually bought a standard 80-inch door, solid door, and cut it to make both doors for the camper. This is a 45-inch back door. The top of the door is actually just about head high, so it just kind of reminds you to duck a little bit. And surprisingly, when you duck a little bit, you can step right up in the inside. You have plenty of headroom inside. And then the remainder of that's probably, I don't know, whatever that is, 35 inches or so for the storage hatch door, which is really all we need for that. You also can step inside that and stand up, but just to put things in and out, that's plenty big enough. We're using I just bought a match set of a doorknob with a deadbolt. So the deadbolt's in the storage area up there, and then the regular doorknob handle with the key lock and their key to like for the bathroom. So we just have to finish out the exterior trim, do some more trim work on the inside. We're gonna pull it and see what happens.
And you can see we finished the back now, and this is pretty simple, but just in case, you just put the one below just behind the one on top, and just keep layering them down like that. When we got all the way to the bottom, we realized that there's a little bit of wood that still shows. So we picked up a roll of just the plain metal flashing there, which we're going to cut just like you see right here. We did it right here because we had to cut around that tire right there, and so we just put this behind it to keep any rain out. So we'll do this all the way down to cover up all of the metal, and then hook this the rest of the way down, and then she will be perfectly water sealed.
Here's the challenge. I need to cut insulation and paneling to fit this half circle. It's not exactly perfectly round. If it were perfectly round, it'd be easy to do. We'd do it up to the outside wall. But since this didn't bend evenly without breaking, it's sort of half of a octagon type shape. So anyway, the way to best trace it, the best way I can think of, is I put a piece of cardboard on the back wall. That's the full width of the wall. I've made a neat little tool out of a level, a yardstick, and taped a pencil on it. And if I'm correct, I should be able to hold it level, follow the contour around the ceiling, and it should do a direct image on this cardboard piece at the bottom with the pencil.
Although I'm thinking a marker might be easier because you want to press down so hard.
Yeah, maybe. Pencil, marker, that's what I had. So I'm gonna give that a try, and I will let you know how it works. Is it drawing a line?
Yep. And the good thing about doing this on cardboard is it gives us a basis, and then we can cut this out and then make tiny fixes as we need them before we actually have to cut anything that's major. So even though this isn't an exact science, it's definitely more exact than just eyeballing it, because that would just be awful. So now for the other side, you're flipping the pencil to the other side?
I just flipped the pencil so I can stay on the outside of my stay on the outside of my device. Back in the bubble level. Slightly out of bubble. We'll look a little bit stiffer. Okay, so this is what it came up with. I had to do a couple little test fits. Neat thing is, it's a lot easier than trying to do this with paneling. But I can put the cardboard up and I can go along here and I can do a little, make little notes, plus a quarter there, shave off a quarter here, minus a quarter. And I can make little notes going around and keep fine tuning it until I get it a pretty exact fit. Then I'll go and cut the panels.
Alright, so now he's just using our pattern and cutting out the insulation, and then we will do it the exact same way for the inner wall, and we will be about finished.
Okay guys, first of all, our plywood flooring is bolted down to the steel frame, which we felt pretty good about that. But with all this weight of this box in here, what I decided to do, in addition to the screws I have that were connecting this down to the plywood, I'm also going to put in some carriage bolts and washers and drill this all the way down through the steel frame with a long bolt and nut and bolt on it, so that it's impossible for it to shift, even if we have a minor collision or run off the road or blow out a tire or anything else. It's not going to pull these screws out. So that's what I'm doing now, through drilling.
Okay, here is what Randy decided to do with that piece of metal that was hanging over the door. He put a little lip in it to try to help keep the rain off of the door, and since it's sharp, he's going to get a piece of rubber to put over the top. But for now, that's going to work, and it'll keep it from scalping us as we go inside. And on the inside, we have all of the interior stuff done. If you remember this wall here and the one on the opposing side, this is where we built the 4-foot wall. So it had a bit of a ledge in it, and rather than add more weight trying to build that out, we just embraced it and put shelves there. Not that it'll actually really hold anything while we're driving, but just something pretty and decorative. But this room is all finished for the most part. I mean, it's got some ugly seams, so I'm going to go to the store and see what I can find. Either a really pretty duct tape, because this isn't white, it isn't really gray, so I might just go with something just pretty, decorative to cover that up, kind of like a chair rail type of concept. But I need to put one there and one in the roof up there, and then this room will be finished, other than now we've got to put in all the cabinets and stuff.
Okay, once we got it all skinned, we had the question of how to seal up the ends where the two pieces of metal meet at a corner. I decided what I wanted to do was to just simply snip the metal and then fold it over, and I'll come back with a seam sealer type rubberized tape and make it a weather tight seal. Then I'll go on the inside and I'll spray in a great foam type filler. So for now, what I'm doing, I'm just snipping it to allow it to fold in, taking a rubber mallet on the edge. It would be nice to have a little more of a lip, but that'll be fine. I'll maybe come up with some small screws. Probably not. I'll probably just go in with the seam sealer on it. But then you have to kind of do a triangular fold on the ridges, like you're making a paper airplane. Just kind of fold those up, and that fills the large gap.
Oh, and look too, we painted the doors, which look an awful lot better now that they're silver and not that wood color. And by the way, these are exterior doors, in case you're wondering. Well, an exterior door, which I think I said earlier, was one door that we cut to make this one a little bit smaller and that one a little bit bigger. So together they made one 7-foot door. Okay, here's the kind of tape that we're going to be using for ours. We call it Airstream tape because we got it back when we had an Airstream and it was awesome. But we pulled this off before I thought to show it to you. But it's made by duct tape, and it's waterproofing tape. And we've used it for years on our Airstream before we sold it, and this stuff is absolutely amazing. And it's 2 parts. It's not like regular tape.
Yeah, so it has a backing you get to peel off. Cool thing about it has this glue is almost like a putty that when you can shape it, it actually hardens kind of almost like a filler putty. So it works really, really well.
Alright, so now that he's got this whole end completely sealed down, now he's going to run that tape around it, and then it will be nice and waterproof. Of course, like you said, we'll still probably seal it on the inside too, just as an added precaution, but probably isn't going to be needed because this stuff is awesome. When I was editing these videos, I realized that we never really discussed what we used on the 2 ends of this camper edition. We were originally thinking that we were going to use this galvanized beveled metal all the way around, but we realized it was going to be a nightmare to get it to butt up correctly. We ended up just using 4x8 sheets of flat galvanized metal, which worked perfectly. We thought about at the end that maybe we should have used it all over, but I still think using the galvanized metal, this one on the end, was a better choice because it was much more rigid and it held the shape better. I think this stuff would have been just too floppy. So here's a somewhat finished look of the bathroom. We got an RV, well, a camping toilet from Amazon that's self-contained. And we got this sink also from Amazon, which right now is just going to a 5-gallon bucket. Since we're not doing anything but brushing our teeth and washing our hands, it's not going to be a big deal to just dump that in the grass as we leave. We're using, you know, safe soap and that sort of thing. But this is kind of how it ended up. It's not finished, but we are ready to get on the road. This is let's see if I can see it. This is just a plain plastic tote from Walmart that we're going to be using to put our clothes in. And I still haven't sealed this. I ended up getting this gray duct tape that I'm probably going to use. I don't like the match, but you know, it is what it is. So I'll probably use that to cover up here and right up here. And eventually we're going to use a bigger bucket that will hold more water and put a little ledge around the floor so it can't move when we're driving. Mia, do you want to show everybody the bathroom? Silly kitty. And then I'm going to put, probably an easiest thing to do is just have a bungee that wraps around the inside of this and hang a pretty curtain down to cover that up for now. Eventually we might build a cabinet, but I don't know. And then that hole there is for that toggle switch up there that we haven't put in yet that will turn on the pump to the water. We're going to be adding an exhaust fan, so it'll run that. And we're eventually going to put in LED lights, 12 volt, and that'll do those too. Right now we're just using these inexpensive lights we bought from Dollar Tree, and they're working just fine. Let me show you the other side. Right here is the front part of the new thing. It's the same 6 feet tall, so eventually we're going to put shelves up here to hold some of our gear. And we're going to finish this out, but we're waiting to see what kind of wiring we want to put in for lighting. But right now, for our sink, Randy just bought this 15-gallon sprayer from Tractor Supply, and it's used to spray, you know, for pests and stuff like that. Sits on the back of a four-wheeler. It came already with an electric pump, electric motor, I mean, that we just hooked up to this battery for now. Eventually it'll run to the toggle switch, so you flip that on and it just automatically pumps the water for you up through this black hose. And since we're using black hose, it's probably not something that you would want to drink out of, but I imagine, you know, if you wanted to, I don't know if this is considered a water safe for drinking. You'd have to do some research on that, and I would definitely change the plumbing to something that's not black rubber. But for brushing our teeth and washing our hands, this is completely fine for us. And you see it goes into the wall right there, into both the hot and the cold. Eventually there is room, which I said this in my other video, to put a shower that goes right here. We would just move the toilet to a different wall and have the shower half in this room, half in that room, just cut that wall out. And this would definitely be enough water pressure to put a shower in if we so chose, and then we would just get one of those like Renai type gas water heaters that are instant, and just put it in the line, and we would have hot water if we so wanted. Right now we're not boondocking enough to need a shower, and I really don't care if I wash my hands with cold water. So to get us on the road, this is what we're doing. But eventually we may add the shower in, and we may add hot water to the line eventually. But for right now, this is what we have, and this is definitely going to be big enough to hold all of our gear. You know, so if we're going to the snow, we can have plenty of snow gear. If we're going to the beach, we can have all of our, you know, scuba stuff and that sort of thing. So this is definitely a big change for me. But here it is again, all finished, and thank you guys for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't, because next week our video is going to be all about hitting the road. We're going to the North Carolina mountains. We're going to see some waterfalls, some cool tunnels, and all kinds of stuff. So you're not going to want to miss out. And if you are interested in the tour of the camper van and how we built that, there's a video that I will link to in the bottom for that as well. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.